Would you like to learn about the potential opportunity investment of a lifetime? Would you like to learn why I am waiting because all-time best cryptocurrency prices are just around the corner? What factors dictate why they are coming and why I am waiting for them? I am going to be presenting you with a concoction of information as to why one of the best ever opportunities in cryptocurrency exists in the mid-term. Now, if you don't know who I am, my name is the Suppoman, your superhero of 100x gems, but your superhero of cryptocurrency. If you love content like this, make sure you smash a like on this video and subscribe and be part of 112,500 fantastic people, which you are. If you are already subscribed, join if you haven't yet and hit the bell notification, because during this period, this could be one of the best ever opportunities to make money, but you've got to be quick. So catching me live will be the best opportunity of doing that. Now, what do we have here? To kind of recap on what has happened, we have had Black Monday today. We have had one of the most seismic dips, plummeting of prices that we have ever seen on a one-day basis. And it came as a result of already having dipped so dramatically. So this is really I think one of the best things that has happened in cryptocurrency. Now, you may be looking at your portfolio, and if you watched my video the other day, you will know that I am sitting on a HODL portfolio, which already contains a mountain of cryptocurrencies. So I am nursing huge losses as a result of falling from the top. However, I think the best opportunity awaits. One of the best opportunities ever, because I have been in cryptocurrency now for over 5 years. And this presents one of the most exciting times in my whole history in cryptocurrency. Now, what you will hear a lot of YouTubers talking about is that essentially we always bounce off this 200 weekly moving average, okay? And that has been one of the targets that people have placed on when they are going to be buying in. Because typically, when Bitcoin falls to that 200 weekly moving average, the price skyrockets. The price actually touches it and then blows off of it. Okay, except for the time when we had a very black swan event. We tend to hit it and go up. And every time we have gone up, essentially we have been unlocking incredible gains. Let me just make sure you can hear me, because I know that in my last video somebody said, can't hear you, Suppoman. Oh, yes, you can. Yes, you can. And I've changed the lighting, so I should look much better, less exposed. Exposed. Anyway, let me just share this over to the people of Twitter. There we are. So, we have always bounced off this 200 weekly EMA, but I think this time is different. This time, I don't think we are going to see that same reaction of the Bitcoin price and the cryptocurrency market following it. Now, although we have today fallen to near like $500 away from that mark, I think this is the beginning. We are more closer to the beginning of harsh times, of poor macroeconomic times, of poor crypto-specific times, which I am going to be sharing with you. And those present an opportunity to be able to buy cryptos to make life-changing gains. Essentially, what we are seeing is a rolling back of time. We are going to be seeing likely prices that we saw back in 2017 for a lot of these cryptocurrencies. Now, to give you an indication of that, if I just show you the Bitcoin price, we have never, in the history of cryptocurrency, ever has Bitcoin gone through a halving, a new all-time high, and gone back to its previous halving gone back to its previous all-time high, which is $20,000. And having gone up to 70k, which I don't actually think is that major, given the environment that we are in, I think this is going to be the first time we are going to dip below the Bitcoin all-time high, having gone through a new halving and all-time high. And we have done this today with the second biggest asset in cryptocurrency, which is Ethereum. I also see that as a market cap, we have gone down under $1 trillion. So we've wiped out 2021. 2021 may as well have not even happened, because we are back under $1 trillion, back to where we were in December 2020. And so what we might do is we might come down to our previous all-time high, which was 850 billion. I think it's almost guaranteed to happen, because we are literally 120 billion off of that now, and we have got a mountain of shit to basically clear. If you think about, you're going in a plane and you're hearing the weather conditions, essentially you have got miles and miles and miles of turbulent cloud, rainy, thunderstormy, lightning clouds that need to be cleared before you have the clear skies, you know where you're going, and everybody's safe. So we've got a very, very turbulent period ahead of us. Okay? So one of the crypto-specific news items which has affected what has happened today, which I wasn't even aware of when I made my video yesterday. So yesterday I made a video where I was making a very short-term prediction that the crypto market was going to suffer dramatically. And it did. And I made that prediction before this news even came out. So narratives merely give rationale behind what's going on, but it was going to happen anyway. So Celsius is where you lock up your cryptocurrencies on their platform to generate an interest, but essentially they have frozen, or did freeze, withdrawals. I've never been part of Celsius. In fact, if anything, I did say about 3 years ago when I was talking about Nexo that I didn't feel that Celsius was safe to do so. Anyway, today we are now bounding around in the low fear zones again. We are at fear 11. I think we are much worse than 11, actually. If you look at what people are saying on Twitter and on forums and on Telegram, people are panicking. If you look at YouTube, you will see that titles are game over for Bitcoin, game over for crypto. So actually, I think that, and those videos have had a lot of views, meaning that people are almost sharing that sentiment. So there is extreme fear, I think greater fear than when we were on 9. So why? Because look, this is my bear market hit list. This is the selection of cryptocurrencies that I want to accumulate, particularly from Moon, River and upwards. So altcoins, there is obviously a classification for altcoins. There are large cap, mid cap, low cap and micro cap. Large cap is anything above 10 billion. Mid cap is 250 million to 10 billion. Low cap is 150 million to 250 million. And no, it's 50 million to 250 million. And then micro cap is under 50 million. In bull markets, micro caps are the best to get in, because micro caps allow you to accelerate your growth more than if you invest in a mid cap or a large cap. Mid caps and large caps, they go up like 5 to 10x during a bull run, because a lot of the growth has happened in starting a bull run. So micro caps are the best place to put your money. When it comes to a bear market, essentially these large caps and mid caps that are strong, they are strong because they have built community, they have built network effect, they have got partnerships, they have got a massive amount of liquidity, they're available on more exchanges. They get rinsed right down to being a low a low cap or a low mid cap, and in some instances maybe even a micro cap. So that presents the best opportunity to get into proven, time-tested, de-risked cryptocurrency. So my strategy now is not to actually get into those smaller altcoins unless there is a significant and impactful reason to do so. Okay, so for instance, in 2019, early 2019, right in the midst of the bear market, I got into Matic. Matic at that time was a micro cap. However, it had all the potential of being a large cap. And so I get into those because of all of the fundamentals. The fundamentals scream, we are going to be a large cap. So I get into those. And I have made huge amounts of money doing that in the past. But looking at our existing selection, because there has not been many new projects coming out in cryptocurrency over the last few months. Not many new projects, not many launchpad launches. And as a result of that, what we are left with is a phenomenal selection of cryptocurrencies that are relatively de-risked, that have massively strong fundamentals, that are down, down, down. So, for instance, Near Protocol was a large cap. Near Protocol is actually badged as the next Solana. So this seems, because this could be a multiple tens to hundreds of billions in terms of market cap over time. And at this present time, it's 2 billion. But if you wait, you are very likely to get this as a much lower mid cap. Similar with Decentraland, Gala, Mina, Cardano, etc. Now I'm going to talk about those very momentarily. But in the meantime, what I want to talk to you about is why wait? Why wait? Because right now, yes, prices look incredible. Right now, we are testing that 200 weekly moving average. A place where it's fantastic to dollar cost average. And I have done a tiny bit of dollar cost averaging. Almost like they are not major positions. Or my major positions come later. But before I go into that, I'm going to go into why and all of my research as to why I believe the all-time best prices are coming to cryptocurrencies. So for instance, Ethereum today is $1,253. There are legitimate reasons and rationale why this could be a $400 cryptocurrency, if not $300 cryptocurrency, pushing it right down to the depths of the 2018 to 2020 bear market, pushing it back to where we were before Ethereum made a blow-off top in 2017. So actually putting it back to 5 years ago today. 5 years ago today, Ethereum was $300, $400. So we are essentially almost going to roll back the clock. Because if people who have gotten into cryptocurrency, particularly lately, are all like, oh, I wish I had gotten back into Ethereum all the way back here. All the way back here before its significant network effect growth, the emergence of DeFi, NFTs, all sorts of lending platforms. Basically, 90% of all cryptocurrencies being built on Ethereum, right? So people wishes they could have got back here before all of that had been exploited. The chances are we are going to do that. So why could this happen? And let me take you through all of these reasons. So first of all, macroeconomical factors. So the macroeconomic factors are all of these almost in conjunction. All right, so I'm going to take you through them in a bite-sized way. I don't want to talk too much about them. But essentially, there's a China manufacturing shortage. China supply many countries globally for all sorts of production and sending of supplies internationally because of the cost of manufacturing. However, China, in Beijing recently, they've got a zero-tolerance approach to COVID. If anybody has COVID, they have got to isolate for a longish period, right? So that means that the people who are in the workforce in manufacturing are taken offline. It has led to a contracting of manufacturing, therefore leading to many shortages all around the globe for the items which businesses use to sell to their customers. We have got the Fed rate hikes, which we have seen as a bid to control inflation. And this is also as a bid to bring down the massive US debt. The US is 4 times over their GDP in debt. That shows you how bad the situation is. Now, the US is responsible for 75% of all transactions across the globe, financial transactions. So this US debt is a massive macroeconomic factor as to why we are in trouble and why we are heading to a recession. So by having this US debt and by enforcing these rate hikes, which are going to continue, especially over the next couple of months and probably for the foreseeable future, is these are part of quantitative tightening. So this is taking money out of the economy in order to be able to control spending, to control growth and demand, and to essentially force a situation where the market corrects. Then, as a result of quantitative tightening, the banks have less money, which means that they have to really vet all the people that are coming to them asking for loans. So that discourages borrowing, and it also discourages lending. So there's going to be people a lot more worse off because basically people love borrowing money. They essentially borrow for their future selves. So they borrow for their future selves now. They want a house now. They know they can work to it if they carry on working for 10, 20 years. But instead of doing that, they want to borrow now. And as a result of high bank interest rates, they're not going to borrow. So people are poorer. They're not going to be as happy. The hierarchy of needs are not going to be fulfilled. So we're going to lead to essentially a poorer global population, but also a dissatisfied one. High mortgage rates. So as a result of high interest rates, people are not going to be borrowing money to buy a house. They're not going to be getting mortgages. Now, the people who already own a house, they are going to have higher interest payments. That means that they are going to hike up the rent of anybody who does, the people who are living in the houses that they have to pay a mortgage on. So that means people are again going to get poorer. War. So we've got Russia versus Ukraine. That has got all sorts of economic factors attached to it. Firstly, the supply of food to Africa from the Ukraine. Russia are the cheapest suppliers of natural gas and oil. And so as a result of that, of a lot of boycotting of them, not going to war directly with them, but boycotting them and ostracizing them and reprimanding them in the press, they are essentially boycotting them and not doing business with them, leading to rising oil and gas prices. The 8.6 inflation has been maintained, so we have not improved the situation. The inflation has not decreased at all since the Fed rate hikes have happened. And of course, all of these things in combination strengthen the dollar. So the dollar, or the Dixie, goes up. As a result of that, everything priced in the dollar, which includes stocks and cryptos, they drop, they fall, they plummet. And of course, all of these factors lead to a recession. A recession is when the US government can essentially not control the US demand, the supply, they can't control the debt, they can't repay the debt, so we go into a recession, which essentially is where we have almost a great reset, a diatribe of shit, okay? One of the worst periods that you can have. So all of this is going on with no real resolution. For instance, Russia versus Ukraine. There is not yet any resolution to it. We don't know how it's going. We don't know what's happening. And of course, not only is there the economic impact, but there's also the human impact and the stories and the particularly the negative stories, death and destruction and all that kind of thing. With war, you've also got China taking back control of Taiwan. That hasn't happened necessarily yet, but that could happen over the course of the next couple of years. So we have got these macroeconomic factors, but we haven't just got that. Okay, we haven't just got that sits between Bitcoin hitting this and going much lower. All right, so we are here considering all of this stuff is happening right now with no resolution, meaning it's very highly probable we are going to drop just purely because of macroeconomic factors, just purely because we haven't yet gone into a recession. And people say, oh, we're in a recession. No, we're not. Okay, we're not yet in a recession. It's not been announced, whatever. It's a work in progress. It's happening right now. Okay, so we are leading towards a recession. If we don't go into a recession, essentially we are going to have inflation rates, the Fed tax hike the rate hikes, they're going to continue in almost indefinite. They're going to just continue for a long time. So you need that reset to force a correction, and that is what a recession is. But not only do you have all of that impending doom, you also have this, the crypto factors. So in the crypto factors, we have got these macro stories. So we have got Celsius. We've recently had Luna. When the market goes bearish, all of these DeFi protocols are going to come under scrutiny. You know, these DeFi protocols are probably going to fall down. Now, this is almost like BitConnect reskinned. BitConnect, everybody knew was going to take everybody's money. Everybody knew it was going to lead to disaster ultimately for anybody getting involved in that platform. Celsius, and you know, probably the Anchor protocol. These, you know, they weren't badged as that. They were badged as legitimate, but ultimately had the same fate. We'll have more stories like this over the course of time. You know, Celsius came out last night, and I wasn't even aware of it, but I still saw the drop coming. So as a result of that, there's going to be more and more narratives feeding the negative crypto environment. We've got Binance under investigation from the SEC. We've got a potential debasing of stables. So we saw the USDT actually fell, got slightly depegged. I wouldn't say in any huge way, but certainly a way that shows, do they actually have enough collateral or backing of the USDT to satisfy the peg? All right, so we've already had UST going down. We've had people talk about USDD, which is the neutron stable coin, also being debased momentarily. And that is a potential narrative that could burn down the line. Then we have got crypto regulation. Obviously, that's coming, and it's not just coming from the US, it's coming globally. Okay, there is going to be multiple kind of frameworks developed over this short period of time, particularly as we have got CBDCs, these central bank controlled cryptocurrencies from countries, essentially. And I think that's a bad thing, personally. But anyway, there's going to be regulation to make way for that introduction. Then we have got community losses. So over the course of time, small altcoins and even mid-cap altcoins are going to lose community. They're going to lose the trust of their community. They're going to lose the momentum, the size, the bullishness. All of that goes because of all these macroeconomic factors, which is going to interrupt cryptocurrency gains over this period of time. So that community losses is going to end up in a reversal in growth. So you're actually going to see people probably taking money out and selling. We've got a rising dollar as a result of all the macroeconomic factors. That rising dollar is a big factor as to why we are seeing cryptos fall, despite the fact, basically, the dollar has been on a mega rally since November. That is what caused the shortage, the stop in the crypto markets going up, because the dollar essentially went on a rally and the stocks and cryptos fell as a result. There's a lack of fiat in existing buyers. So if you see people at the moment on forums, they're like, I haven't even got any money to buy new cryptocurrencies. Like, I want to buy these sales, but I can't because I haven't got the money to do so. So there's a lack of fiat. That means money isn't being injected by the hodlers that already make up the current cryptocurrency community. Like, what has led to Bitcoin particularly managing to maintain its price is because there is existing buyers hodling it. But how do they grow if there aren't existing buyers amongst those hodlers to buy up the price as it gets lower? And as a result, there's a lack of interest in new buyers. This has been a problem since November. New buyers come in bull markets. Okay, they come in late. They're the dumb money. They come in late. They buy the tops. Right. So in a lack of interest in new buyers, where is the money going to come from? Too many coins and shit coins. There's 19,000 cryptocurrencies. Most of them have no utility. They're rubbish. They could be classed as security. They're Ponzi schemes. They are white papers with no substance and things like that. So they are going to get cancelled out. They're going to get destroyed. Because in a bear market, that is when you really see the cream rising to the top and the shit get flushed down the toilet. And that is what's going to happen with shitcoins. And right in the middle, there is 2 years till the next halving. Okay, so look, this is the last halving. We're halfway there. We're halfway there. So considering the macroeconomical factors and the crypto-specific factors, how can crypto grow with all of that negativity in the next 2 years before the next halving? Now, the likelihood is that a bull run can start, depending on the economic environment, a bull run can start prior to the halving, but I think only just prior to, not much before. Now, if we go into a recession, it could be a recession that lasts all of 2023 until we correct. The debt's so huge that the US have to pay. The global debt's massive. Most countries are in huge debt because of what happened with the pandemic. They put themselves in that situation because they had to keep their people and their businesses thriving. Otherwise, the whole country would come to a shutdown. And that is not good for the economy. So they had to prop them up with the stimulus money, with various, injections of cash to self-employed, to businesses, to stay-at-home workers. They had to keep everything afloat. So as a result of that, now we are seeing massive mega repercussions of it. So as a result of that, yes, there's a huge temptation to buy. And if I'm honest with you, I have done some dollar cost averaging, but it's so minor. Okay, so these are the cryptocurrencies that I bought today. I'm not going to be, literally the buys were so minor. All right, so I bought, here are the prices. 319 for near. I bought some Sandbox. It's not in my bear market hit list, but I wanted to have a hedge against Decentraland. I bought some, what's it called? Optimism. And I bought Optimism simply because I just think that, it is something they're going to be building network effect during this whole down period. And it was just worth it at that particular time. So anyway, Optimism, I obviously bought Glimmer. I bought it twice. So I bought it at 81.9 and 81.4. I bought Gala, Ocean, Mina, and Decentraland. I didn't buy Cardano because I missed the boat on that. But I literally spent less than $1,000 on these. My big buy orders are going to be north of $10,000 when I get into these properly. All right, so I just put in a marker really to commemorate my previous DCAs, which I was looking to snipe. But these are going to be where my big buys come in. So near 1 to 150. That is basically, that is ripping near by almost 3 times. Moonbeam, ripping it by 4 times. Mina, 4 times. Mover, 5 times. 5 if not 6 times its current price. Cardano, 3 times. Decentraland, I think I'm going to have probably the biggest problem. The biggest problem. Because Decentraland has actually, it's not falling. It doesn't want to fall. All right, that tells me it's got strength. So, but it can, I think it's just literally because it is the meta of cryptocurrency. Meta is really one of the strongest, technology companies anyway. And Decentraland, I think, is the crypto version of it. Therefore, it's very, very strong. And Gala, this would be taking it right down. Okay, so is where I'm going to be starting, 1.5 to 2 cents, and hopefully buying more. And essentially, I'm going to be buying at this point, that point, and bring my average down to about here. So these are what I want my average prices to be around about. I want to bottom pick. I want to save money for the bottom, but you don't know when that bottom is. So basically, I'm just going to be dollar cost averaging across these pricing scales, but taking into account all of these negative factors in conjunction with where we are versus the next halving date. Okay, so if we hit it quick, if we hit it next week, if the price absolutely sinks, let's say that the price goes down to around about $15,000 or less, and those prices get hit immediately, and we are still 1 and 5/6 of years away from the halving, then I will take a serious consideration of when I'm getting in. But ultimately, we are looking to get in as close to IDO prices or going back a couple of cycles prices. Now, I am looking to buy Ethereum as well, but only if the price goes down to about 300, 400. If it goes down to 100, then a lot more, essentially. I would be looking to get back what I had once of Ethereum, which was 800 Ethereum at one point, and it's dwindled down now to like 80. And I want to get right back up there. So anyway, so yeah, so that can be done relatively cheaply, because the thing is that we know where Ethereum is going. Okay, so if we have a look at this, okay, so when it comes to the technology adoption curve, we have already got, because there are people saying, oh, it's game over for crypto, it's game over for Bitcoin. I don't actually believe they mean that. I think they are just putting shocking titles, but I'm not one to do that. As you know, I have put a relatively measured title, wait, all-time best crypto prices are coming. But people, in order to get, you know, massive amounts of viewers, are saying like game over for cryptocurrency, right? But this is why that's not happening. Okay, so essentially the amount of users across the same amount of years since inception, Bitcoin is growing faster than the internet was. Okay, so where the internet was 1997 and where Bitcoin is 2021, we are actually growing. We are in a super cycle still. All right, and it may not reflect necessarily in the prices, but it's definitely reflecting in usership. It's reflecting in the number of wallets, the number of transactions, the number of usage on the network. All right, but we haven't just got that. We have also got Ethereum. Okay, so Ethereum, if you can see, is essentially following the same adoption curve as Bitcoin, but absolutely nowhere near the amount of adoption as Bitcoin. Bitcoin is obviously number one as far as adoption is concerned. And Ethereum, although technologically it's adopted, as far as usage of the network, as far as usage of wallets, etc., number of wallets, it is far and away from Bitcoin. Therefore, Ethereum to me presents a fantastic opportunity to be part of one of the mega assets in cryptocurrency, but at a price that was existing only back in 2017. All right, so that's why the opportunity is there. You would never catch me in a bull market touching or even liking Ethereum, but huge fortunes have been made through an Ethereum bear trend. Okay, and the biggest example of that is Carl the Moon. So Carl the Moon bought a ton of Ethereum when it was under $100 back at the end of 2018. He accumulated and accumulated and accumulated, and now he's worth, I think he's worth nearly hundreds of millions, because from that point of $100 all the way through to $5,000 is essentially a 50x. Is that a 50x? Let me just check. I think it is. 5,000 divided by 100. Yeah, 50x, right? So, considering that we are possibly going to go just a little bit above those prices, if those prices hit, incredible. But if they don't, then essentially you are part of a super asset way before it achieves the same kind of adoption that Bitcoin has. Okay, so it's still in its early stages. It was much newer. It's 5 years newer than Bitcoin. So as a result of that, the technology, the adoption curve is much earlier in its adoption curve, but so much more room to grow on the upside. Ethereum, I think, is a guaranteed $65,000 asset in the future. Okay, and particularly because it will have deflationary elements over time because of ETH2, that I imagine that they're going to have, obviously in conjunction with the likes of Optimism, it's going to be able to better serve its users before it becomes greener and more scalable. So as a result of that, it's part of being a super asset. And then, of course, we've got Solana. Now, Solana, again, is like, as far as ROI is concerned, is delivering incredible ROI versus Ethereum. So the more down the order you go, the similarities you've got in terms of adoption rates, they pretty much mimic the same adoption rate, but the lower down you go of these layer ones, the more that you see that they are still very, very early in building network effect in terms of adoption, in terms of gaining users. So the more you go down, this is a time when you look at the large caps, because they are probably not going to be large caps for very, very long. Okay, so anyway, but Solana will likely go down to, $5 to $10 at some point during this bear market, I believe, anyway. So I've done a lot of talking, so now I'm going to take some of your questiones and see what you guys have got to say. And by the way, people, if you wouldn't mind, smash that like button. I haven't even done it yet, so there we are. Quick like spike. If you want for these prices to come and to become, essentially to be able to make life-changing gains as a result of these prices, smash that like if you really want that. Okay, Panto Basketball. Let's see who we've got. So we've got Patrick, Saverns, Lindsay, Chris Mark, Smibes, Her, Jason, Victory, Crypto Philly, Renee Stock, Richard Curtis, Let's Go Crypto, Alan the Warrior, Sebastiano, Geeta, Mango Juice, Mivek, Crow 8, Brian Hansen. It is Hansen, isn't it? Tim P, Reverend Flashback, Sebas, Wanye West. Super is one of the most transparent guys out there. I appreciate that, Crypto Philly. I appreciate that dramatically. US is done. They're not done. I tell you this, they aren't done. But, you know, these factors, what happens in a bear market is essentially you see massive weaknesses in the existing system. So this is where, because people are saying, you know, Bitcoin has the potential to be the hedge for all of this financial disaster. All right, because it's got a 0.2 inflation rate. After the next halving, it have 0.1 inflation rate, and it will only keep going down because it's got this scarcity quality versus abundance. So there's massive abundance in the US dollar. There's tons of users and there's tons of dollars. They can print ad nauseum. They can print forever. Right? They printed 25% of the entire US dollar supply in 2021. That shows you that they can just print ad nauseum, like XRP, hence why I don't like XRP. It's centrally governed, so it gives a massive use case for Bitcoin down the line. And this is where you can see potential transitionings, but it's not happening yet. But the US is not done. There's been recessions in the past. 1985 was massive quantitative tightening. The US dollar, I think, was like 1.62. Now it's only 1.04 or something. Right? So there's been hugely bad economical situations in the past. There was the recession of 2001, the recession of 2008. There's always recessions. There's always global problems. And they always come out of it. And the thing that happens when they come out of it is that actually their quantitative easing happens. So they put money back into the economy. It's like a perpetual cycle that continues, that creates bull and bear markets. Because the countries get in trouble, they get out of trouble. They get into trouble as a result of then spending, and then they get into trouble and then take away. It's how the world works, how it will continue to work. But it does show you massive use case for Bitcoin. So US isn't done. The US will never be done. They're one of the big powers, but it certainly does give rise to a new a need for a new kind of. It gives rise to a new main currency. Forget the terminology, but a main currency, one that has much more intrinsically beneficial qualities, something like Bitcoin. And it's decentralized, it can't be controlled. It's computer coded, so you can't actually change it. Regulation will be brilliant for crypto. I don't agree with that notion at all. I actually think that it's bad for crypto, right? I think that what's needed is for crypto to stay decentralized, uncontrolled, stay exactly how it is, because that is what has led to its adoption rate. Its adoption rate is because it's not controlled, it's not managed, it's not interrupted by other countries trying to have some form of, it would probably benefit, there would probably be some benefit to there being some kind of centralized body to go to if you like lost your Bitcoin or you died and your family members can access your Bitcoin because it's kept in a ledger. They don't know the password. They wouldn't have a clue how to get it out. So yeah, in some ways, there needs to be control, but we should self-control. We should build crypto should build the tools so it self-regulates. It shouldn't need regulators. I don't like the idea. That's just a way of muscling in on our territory and bringing out their own coins. Holding in DCA to build a bigger base. Yes. Super is Smart Skill Wrestling. We have to always have that question in. Super, would you buy Solana at $4? Yes, I would. Yes, I absolutely would. And I am hopeful for there to be more bad news about Solana. I'm hopeful that there will be more outages on Solana, more people moaning, more people shorting, the price going down, people negatively speculating on the price. I would be quite happy with that. But there's a whole world of layer ones which have massive potential. Avalanche, for instance. The first time I ever saw Avalanche, it was $3. It could get to that. It could, by rights, get to that and cancel out the whole of 2021's growth that it had, establishing itself as an ecosystem. So essentially you've got the benefits of having built a network effect, having got an ecosystem, having got dApps being built on it, with the prices of 2020. So Avalanche I picked up in December 2020, I'm sure, or it was January 2021, and it was $3. So look at it now. You know, it's it has massive potential to drop to that. But there are others. You know, Kronos as well. That was near $1. There are tons. But yeah, I would buy Solana at $4, but I did buy it at $1 anyway. Hello, do you think that Lido could end up the same as Celsius? I haven't looked into Lido, but I imagine they use Lido. They are using Lido, from what I understand, in order to be able to repair their current situation. All right, so yeah, Lido could end up the same, but at the same time, it could also be an example of something that is a success story, and a success story in DeFi. Crypto Chrissy, good to see you. Thanks for coming on today, Super. Very needed and so appreciate your insights. I'm glad you are here. Super, will you fill the boat if ADA hits 2 cents again? No, I don't think so. I've got well, no, not over a million. About 700 and something thousand of them, which I've held. I was actually thinking of selling it today. You know, because I was on Binance and I was looking at all these cryptocurrencies. I was thinking maybe it might be a better bet just get rid of all my ADA and go into NIA. But I don't think ADA. I'm responsible for a lot of ADA's growth. In all honesty, yeah, I was the first YouTuber to talk about ADA back in, I think it was the 1st of October 2017, and I was one of the first buyers at 1.9 cents. So, well, one of the known buyers anyway. Obviously, there were many more buyers under that, but yeah, but you know, NIA is much further back in its adoption rate, therefore greater potential down the line. But no, I don't think I would. I'm happy with what I've got in Cardano. I will admit I am disappointed in Cardano. Okay? Maybe an unpopular opinion, but I don't care. Cryptocurrency at the end of the day is a very subjective thing. You have to see the value in it. You shouldn't be relying on other people's opinions of a cryptocurrency. That's what annoys me when people are like, tell me 3 coins to invest in. No, do your own research, invest in what you believe in, that you've done the research on, that you think yourself has a great chance of doing well. Don't coattail off somebody else's hard work that is basically riding on what they like. It's subjective. And ADA pissed me off with Sunday Swap. Okay, so Sunday Swap I tried to get in its early stages. It's now well below the price I was going to get into it. Well below it. It's 4 cents. It's got 67,000. Now, Sunday Swap is basically the pancake swap of ADA, of the ADA network. And yet, it's got no volume. If we look at pancake swap, you know, 154, and this is during bearish times, okay? So if we just get that divided by 67,000, it's got 2,272 times the volume of Sunday Swap. Now, considering that Sunday Swap was meant to be the pancake swap of Cardano, and Cardano being one of the fastest ecosystems eventually, one of the most secure, decentralized, solves the blockchain trilemma in terms of scalability, you know, this should have been a powerhouse. This should now be just under a large cap. So if Sunday Swap is a proof of concept for Cardano, it's desperately disappointing. So I am annoyed with Cardano that despite all of the many years we've been waiting, you know, and I'm a believer in it, but all the many years we've been waiting for them to develop the ecosystem, to hit milestones, to, you know, because Charles Hoskinson is obviously a hyper intelligent person, and you would have thought that it would have been a much quicker process to achieve some level of good minimum viable product. But after 5 years, Sunday Swap is what they've produced, and it's god awful. Okay, it is going to obviously improve with their new update, but you know, it kind of leaves a sour taste in the mouth. Renee Stock, would you still buy launch pads, and which ones? No, I won't be buying any launch pads. But I am already in, you know, the Bluezilla launch pads. The ones that I would consider... What is making that sound? The one I would consider... what brought out Project Galaxy? Let me have a look. Oh no, they were Planet Mojo. But anyway, yeah, potentially Polka Starter. That 2x and lost it straight away. Seedify, but this is really for metaverse projects, and this is really sang. You know, this was what, $12 or something? Oh, $16 at the high. And it's now lost 16 to what? It's lost 15, 16th out of the price, and then Dowmaker is also a good one. But yeah, I mean, I'm already in all the Bluezillas, so I'm staying in that. As far as I'm concerned, launch pads are a ticket to the show. They're not an investment per se, because launch pads do well in bull markets, but during bear markets, it's really an opportunity to get into something at a low price. So, you know, recently one was able to get into Moves. Moves, I don't know how Moves is doing at the present time. Wow. It's still 22.4x, and it's still, the volume is still exceeding its market cap. So yeah, so you get into something like Moves, which is basically a Steppen clone with good potential at an early stage. So, but would I buy Launchpad? Yeah, maybe actually, but I'm not buying anymore because I'm in the ones I want to be in. But thank you for the question. Diuliu. Why aren't regulations good? Doesn't it mean big players like banks and institutions will get involved so much more money? And no, it doesn't mean that. ETFs do that. You know, ETFs basically allow you to get involved in the asset as is. You know, so you know all the difference is that, you know, ETFs is basically the custody is handled by the provider. So let's say Grayscale. They handle the custody element. They've got customers. The customers have exposure to Bitcoin without having to get involved in the nitty gritty. That doesn't need regulation. You're getting involved in the asset's magic as to why it has grown to where it is now, because it's decentralized. It's not been changed. It's not had rules. You don't have brokers. All of that kind of thing. Right? That's what the stock market has. And look at the stock market. Boring as shit as an asset class. You know, you have to go through a broker, and then you have to pay that broker. What I love about cryptocurrency is that it's open to the everyman. And as soon as you get regulators, you don't know what frameworks they're going to introduce and what they're going to make you do. I mean, for instance, for launchpads, as a US investor, you cannot get into launchpads because, you know, they've got rules in place from the SEC that stops for new investors getting burned. So, you know, what kind of regulation could they introduce on a larger scale? I don't like the idea. I think the idea absolutely sucks. The only good thing, as I said, would be the potential protection element. But I think that the lack of protection feeds into the magic of cryptocurrency. So, for instance, Bitcoin. Let me just have a look. How much lost Bitcoin is there? Estimated that 2.7 million to 3.79 million Bitcoins have been lost. Okay, so that for Bitcoin, 19 million. So 3.79 divided by 19. 20% of all Bitcoins is lost That's good. They can never be sold. They can never be sold. That's a good thing, right? You haven't got 3.79 million bitcoins that are going to be sold at some point, right? They're hodling forever. The 3.79 million are hodling forever. That's a good thing. If people are able to get access to their assets, who knows what? Let's say there's some form of retrospective hack or retrospective key by which you can get into a wallet that holds tons of bitcoins. And somebody who bought all the way back in 2011 can get access to that wallet. They're like, hey, I'm a billionaire overnight. I'm going to sell it all. Right? Bang, price goes down. So, no, I mean, it adds to the appeal. It all adds. So, I see no reason for it at all. Elon was added to Coinbase custody today. Signs of it be... Oh, Elon... What's that? Elon Gate or whatever? Oh, Doge Elon Mars. Any sign of it being the next SHIB? I mean, a lot of people know about this, but I mean, it has a shit name. Doge Elon Mars. I mean, Shiba Inu. It's a dog. Doge. I mean, Doge is a Shiba Inu, but it's just short, sharp branding. Doge Elon Mars sounds stupid. Okay, so, you know, so do I personally think it's the next SHIB? No. And it's older than SHIB. I'm sure of it. And it never had that level of adoption. And the reason why is because it's just not got that air of mystery. It's not got that X factor that Shiba Inu has. But you're new to the channel. But thank you very much, Thunderbird to Mars. And thank you for the $5. I appreciate that. Okay, let's take some more questions that aren't necessarily paid questions. Angie, could you talk about moves, more about moves? At this point, moves is a work in progress. So they have got something called earns. I don't know if it's on their website, but they've got something called earns. And this is going to be a tiered membership. I think if you have a high, and this is from staking, so you stake your moves, and if you get a high tier in earns, that means your earning capability is much higher. So moves at this point, they've got no teasers, no app screenshots or anything, but from what I have heard, it's coming out, the app is coming out in 2 weeks' time or thereabouts. So I think apps, particularly because I've developed apps for the Apple App Store and for the Android Store, Android apps go out straight away and Apple App Store takes a review process. So it may or may not be out in 2 weeks, and they may be waiting for maybe more favorable market conditions to launch that news. I don't know. But yeah, Moves has potential. And of course, we've gotten in from the ground level. So therefore, you know, we can wait to see how they evolve over time, which hopefully they will. I feel like selling more of my crypto to have more money to buy, but I'm hoping for a rally sometime before the elections. Yeah. Completely, like, at this point, completely an unknown. It can happen. You know, crypto tends to have autumn, not blow off tops, but autumn rallies. Okay, so with the midterms coming up, there's going to be this maybe an aura of everything's cool, everything's fine, we want to get re-elected. So it could be an aura of positivity, and it could happen. I will admit that I sold some Binance coin last night because I saw it was after the stream. I saw the move coming, it was happening, and I sold all of my Binance coin. And at the time it was $260. How much is it now? Binance coin. So yeah, I wasn't selling it. I wasn't selling it high at all. You know, I could have sold Binance coin at $400 and all sorts, but it was 225. So massive profit at the moment in doing that. But I wanted to free up some fiat for if, you know, prices got too good to be too, but they didn't. They didn't. So we'll see. But do I want to be in Binance coin? Binance is strong. Binance got a strong ecosystem. It's a deflationary currency. It's got a huge ecosystem. It's obviously got the, what's it called? The exchange that kind of sits as massive utility for the actual token. But it's number 3. It's yeah, I mean, it's going to grow, obviously, but is it better placed elsewhere? Don't know yet. What about Steppen? Don't know. It's had a lot of FUD on it. I'm not adding it. I'm in moves. I'm quite happy about that. Can you talk about Mina? Why are you bullish? So the reason that I'm bullish on Mina, is my hit list still there? No. So the reason that I'm bullish on Mina is because it is the smallest blockchain ever. All right, so it's got a novelty factor. All right, they use ZK snarks or ZK rollup technology, which is basically zero knowledge proof. ZK means zero knowledge. So instead of having what you traditionally have with proof of work validators or validators on most networks, is that they check that the transaction is true. They check that, you know, what has been sent is what has been received, and it's all true, and it gets validated, put in the blockchain, etc. So the miners take longer to actually reach a consensus as a result. ZK rollups is a way of quality checking that the information is true without having to see it. So there's zero proof to see it. And that is a very revolutionary technology that Mina obviously utilizes. They've got privacy layer. They're built for Web3. Web3 is obviously one of the super trends of the future. You know, five years time, we're going to have Web3 apps everywhere. Web3 is going to be the apps that we access, I think. And this is a big reason why I'm in Moonbeam. But Mina is looking to be, you know, backing a lot of the dApps in the ecosystem. They're an early stage project. They've got Binance Labs, they've got Coinbase Ventures. That means they've already got inclusion in Binance. They've already got a lot of liquidity. I'm not sure if it's on Coinbase. Let me just have a look. It is on Coinbase USD. Euro. It might actually already be on Coinbase, so that opens it up to a huge amount of liquidity. So anybody that joins the market and hears about essentially the fact that this is the world's smallest blockchain, you know, I think that is going to have massive appeal versus all of these kind of archaic, huge, big, cumbersome blockchains that exist today. And another reason I like Mina is because it's not fixed yet. You know, Mina has a low amount of transactions per second. So once that gets fixed, once they get their scalability right, they've built an ecosystem. They're spending 92 million on that ecosystem, led by FTX Ventures, and that is strong. You know, they've got the venture partners that can make that ecosystem happen, and of course FTX as well is a liquidity partner as well. So yeah, so I think Mina has just got a number of various factors. It's a layer 1 as well. Layer 1s, they're never a bad thing. And they're at the very beginning of their adoption rate. Very beginning of their adoption rate. So, you know, what we see with the likes of Solana, we could easily see with the likes of Mina one day. You know, it just needs to kind of get there. And I'm happy to be patient with that. But it's, you know, it's interesting. And even Charles Hoskinson himself says he loves it. What's your view on Pulsechain launching at the bottom of the bear, potential layer 1 winner for 2023? Well, I'll tell you this, right? What we are seeing with the global economy at the moment is that we are seeing that things need to change. You know, we are seeing that, you know, we've got oil and gas prices, and there's obviously a reliance on those commodities. And we are moving into highly technological times. We are moving to electric green energy, right? So as a result of that, you know, Pulsechain has got some really good qualities. Obviously, it's the green Ethereum, as it were. Faster block finality, faster transactions per second. It'll obviously have the reputable and world-renowned Richard Hart, twerk genius, twerk star, social media meme as the head of it. So, you know, he's incredible at generating attention to himself and to Hex. So over the course of time, yeah, I see Pulsechain being a winner. You know, Pulsechain is deflationary. It's a deflationary cryptocurrency. It's going to start off essentially like Cardano. It's going to start off by having a ginormous circulating supply owned by Richard, mostly, like 90-something%. But I don't think he's going to sell that. So therefore, the 10% of alternative liquidity by the hodlers are more likely to keep it. So I think it's going to be tough for that to fall. But even in a bear market, it can happen. You know, in a bear market, from a psychological point of view, if a big move on the downside is happening, like what happened last night, you kind of think to yourself, okay, I'm not in a profitable position right now. So we're not in a bull market. It's not surging massively. It may be slightly down on when I bought it, but I could buy it down cheaper. And so people may try and swing trade it. So, you know, in the early stages, there could be brilliant opportunities for Pulsechain. You need to have 0.0001 to break even on Pulsechain. So as a sacrificer. So anything under that is essentially buying it at a better price than Pulsechain early sacrificers got it for. So yeah, so there's opportunities with that. But part of me also thinks that Richard Hart is going to delay the launch as long as possible. There's so many macroeconomic factors that he's a smart guy, I'm sure he's aware of, that he will want to avoid basically getting crushed by. So I think he partly likes the idea of launching in a bear market, but at the same time, I also think he doesn't. Hex launched in a bear market, and as a result of that, he was able to go on all of these shows where he gets interviewed, and he's like, you could have sold Hex on a double, 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 and that's because it came out in a bear market, and you know you're able to spin that narrative. So he may do it. You never know. But I think that Pulsechain, I don't rate it as highly as I would another layer 1, because Hex, as you'll see, has, I mean, the liquidity is not bad, but relative to its market cap, it's very low, and that is because hardly anybody, you can't buy it anywhere except for decentralized exchanges. Look, QuickSwap, Uniswap, and a shit exchange like HitBTC. So, you know, you can't really buy it anywhere because nobody wants to partner with Richard. He's too divisive. He's too polarizing. So, it's a good and a bad thing. So we'll have to wait and see. But he's good at generating his own hype. Doesn't need those people. And as a result of him basically owning all of the liquidity and most of the circulating supply, he knows that outside partners like FTX, Coinbase, Binance aren't going to sell off his token against his say-so. So in a weird way, the open distribution it has there is not going to have VCs, it's not going to have vesting periods. It's actually possibly a good thing. So I'll have to wait and see. Your opinion on Tencent? I haven't looked at Tencent recently. So Tencent are a launchpad where you lock up your tokens. Oh, wow. It's maintained a good... I mean, obviously it went up for fame. Remember my name, fame. And it went up for Everdome, maybe, for the subscription periods. But actually, it seems to be maintaining pretty well. You can't really sell it. You're locked in. If you're subscribed to the platform, you're locked in. And that is a very good model. And, yeah. What do you think of OccamFi? I've heard something about OccamFi. I think they're getting behind some big launch or something. Symbiosis joins forces with Occam to lead the game in Milkomeda. I don't know what that means. Symbiosis. I nearly got involved in Symbiosis. Advanced order routing technology. Occam is also meant to be... I haven't kept up with the project. But it's also meant to be a Cardano DEX like SundaySwap. So it is more than just a launch pad. But they frankly have done a terrible job. They did a terrible job in the bull market. So how they'll do in the bear market, I mean, doesn't sound good, does it? See, the problem with Bitcoin supply is the paper trading on. Well, I mean that's that. I mean, what can you do with centralized exchanges? Like leverage has just gotten so huge, and God knows where that money goes when they lose it. That's why I don't do leverage. But yeah, what do you think of Flamingo? Is Flamingo that DeFi protocol on Neo? I don't really care for it. Phantom, I still hold Phantom. Yeah, still hold Phantom. Is it as bullish as it once was? No, because they lost Andre Cronje. But it's still a very good project though. But I don't think they're as commercial as they once were. Safer in Decentraland or Sandbox than Block? Yeah, agree with that. I would probably say Decentraland. But Sandbox is pretty cool. Do you think Hex can 100x in the future? Yeah. Yeah, it can. But I do think that Richard Hart is going to take his attention away from Hex. So Hex, back last year, on the lead up to Pulsechain, nearly $0.50. So if it went down to 1 cent, which I think it will, and then it goes up subsequently to $1, because people lock in their Hex on the platform because you don't have to give your keys over to another platform. You essentially still own it in MetaMask. So you just lock it up in a smart contract. And over the course of time, it probably could go up to $1. You know, it's not died yet, and I'm told it's got 100% uptime. And Richard Hart's put a load of people that have tried to question him on the credibility of Hex into the graveyard. So yeah, you never know. It could do. I made 100x with Hex, so I'm living proof it can be done. But the danger is that over the course of time, will Richard Hart be really concentrating his efforts into Pulsechain and PulseX? If he brings out more projects that require a sacrifice, Hex is typically the liquidity token for it, and also PHEX will have some utility. So, you know, so it could probably be propped up. Suppo, please give your views on Teller. No, it's an Oracle, isn't it, Teller? What I like about Teller is that it actually looks a lot like the McLaren logo. Yeah, this looks like the McLaren logo. It's got great volume. Let me have a look and see where it's available. Coinbase. Oh wow. Okay, so it's widely available, and it's a micro cap, and it's an Oracle, and you know there are other Oracles that it's competing with. So you know it could be okay for an Oracle play. Oracles tend to do well in DeFi season. But that makes me think about Supra Oracles, and I think that's a better play. So Supra Oracles has FTX, Coinbase Ventures, Huobi, Sound Ventures, which has got Mark Cuban, Animoca, Polygon, Hashed, Ashton Kutcher, Yuka Labs, 160 funds, angels, and investors. And that is going to be a low market cap when it comes out. Roughly what Teller is, I suppose. Maybe a bit cheaper. And it's likely to be a power asset, Oracle, with probably a greater network, a greater VC and angel network to help it grow in terms of network effect. So I would probably, I personally am sticking to Super Oracles. I wouldn't, other than Chainlink, I wouldn't bother getting into another Oracle play. Other questions? Anything about Rary? No, not really. Don't give a stuff for it, to be honest. Bitcoin will go under 15k? I think it will, yeah. Richard Hart, you are more than likely right. Great video. You're covering so much. Thank you, Angie. I try to be in depth without overstaying my welcome. Otherwise, people just won't watch it back. But they should. Like, if they want a lot of education, because I am very knowledgeable about altcoins, you get to, via osmosis, you get to know about most projects as a result of just watching me. XRP after the case, coin for the bear market? I don't think so. I don't like... But thank you, Andy Dixon. I don't like XRP. I don't like it. It is exactly like the fiat system. It's centrally controlled. The liquidity is mainly owned by its owners. It fuels the banking system. So it's essentially a centralized tool and a traditional finance tool, which goes against cryptocurrencies' ethos, number one. Number two, it doesn't bloody move. You know, if you go back 3 years, it's back where it was. Look, it's back where it was. Like, the thing doesn't move, so it's pointless. It's just the XRP army are just exit liquidity. Super, any update on convergence? No, not really. I mean, convergence, they're high risk at this point. Super, how to get in Super Oracle? I don't know. They will have their own launch pad. Not have their own launch pad. They will launch on their own platform, is what I meant to say. So it's not going to be a launch pad. They're going to launch on their own platform. So being part of the community, I think, is the most advantageous thing you can do. Spaghetti or pizza? Oh, pizza, easy. Hey, Super, my man, thanks for the pump in 2017. No worries. Let's see if there's any more questions. Thank you, Supo, for sharing all your research from Bernard. Thank you very much, Bernard. Thoughts on Moonbeam for DCA during bear? Yeah, I mean, as I think I've shared, I am looking to get Moonbeam as close to its take flight price as possible, because it's an advantageous place to get into it. It means that everybody starts from scratch. You know, it's like nobody got advantaged in it, and nobody will think, oh, you know, the take flight people will dump on me. So it would be a good thing for it to go back down to its IDO price, particularly because I want to own a lot of it. So earlier today we had Nexo offering to essentially bail out Celsius, but Nexo are a direct competitor to Celsius. So essentially they would be making themselves bigger as a result, which I thought was insane. Insane. I thought they were legends for doing that. And I used to speak with the Nexo team. So, yeah, I thought that was pretty... Oh, it was pretty cool. Knowing them, obviously, and they did that. I didn't think that was the kind of thing they would do, you know? But that was... that was intelligent, and at the same time, pretty bold. But where I was going with is that I want to essentially own Moonbeam with the amount that I would own in supply. So therefore, the lower it gets, the more I can own of it, and essentially it'd be my Cardano of old, essentially. It'll be where I have the biggest bag. Right, I think that's probably it, unless there are any more questions that are slightly challenging. Thoughts on DOT? Yeah, DOT's been a bit of a disappointment, but I think that it will probably grow in the next bull market. Super, I've missed watching you from the start. I guess I have to watch it offline. Thank you for your content. You're making it clear and subjective to many of us. Really appreciate it. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Best crypto game out there? I would personally say, you know, Gala Games is the best arcade out there. As far as what's got potential as a game, I thought, you know, the likes of Metastrike had a really good chance. It looked superlative. Illuvium is probably the next Axie, if not Star Atlas. They're both strong. They're both AAA. Star Atlas is on Solana, which is an advantage. Illuvium's Ethereum based. But I think that they're also utilizing immutable. So by rights, they should also operate quite quickly. But yeah, I think Illuvium probably best game. Most likely to be the next Axie. Axie shit. Axie was never really good. Yeah, but Gala Games, I think there's more power in investing in a collective of games. Hence, Gala Games is like investing in Activision or Rockstar or Midway, Acclaim. I'm showing my age here. I'm like talking about 90s gaming studios like Capcom, Psygnosis. But yeah, you're essentially investing in a software house that's probably going to produce more and more really good games. And Gala, their games just look insane. You know, Spider Tanks looks good. Their Town Crush looks really good. The CEO is the CEO of Zynga and was previously worked for MySpace. So they've got a really good founder in that in Mike Shiremeyer. Yeah, it looks really good. Yeah, look at that. Battle Royale, Battlestar Galactica, Eternal Paradox, Town Crush, Spider Tanks, Superior, Walking Dead, Empires. That looks insane. Looks insane. Look at that. Look at that. That's brilliant. So yeah, so Gala Games, as you saw, I invested in Gala earlier today at 5.3. What's that now? 4.8. So it'll go down. It'll go much further down. Oh, well, you know why. You know why. You saw all of this. Like, if cryptos can grow despite this, then the realms of impossibility are actually achievable. But I don't think so. So I think it's bound to go down over this. Look at this shit show. And a recession hasn't even happened. And the US are still kind of battling their ability to get on top of debt, which is an insurmountable amount. So yeah, so I think there's more trouble to come, and as a result, greater prices to come. So you can probably snap Gala up, because at the moment it's closer to being a low cap than it is a large cap. And previously, if we have a look, its all-time best, $5 billion. Unbelievable, 5 billion. So if we can get this down to I've got the circulating supply. If the inflation isn't too much, if we could get this down to a high-low cap, I think that would be an absolute winner. Quite a big answer to what I think was a pretty simple question there. Still bullish on Globe? No. No, I'm not. I forgot I even invested in it. It's a big fat loss. I thought of buying Immutable X after doing the homework, but they will never touch Polygon. Don't count on it. Immutable X. You know, nobody really believed in Matic back when I first spoke about it. I was the only one covering Matic, and it was a bit like meh. You know. Yeah. If I just show you. Look, where is it? Where is my Matic video? Here. Streamed 3 years ago, 12K. No one cared. All right, no one cared. It's only when people start talking about it that you care. And you want to get into a cryptocurrency before people talk about it. Where was I? Here, probably. So, you know, so it could well get there one day. Right, I think that's it. Let me just check. Last have a quick look at questions. How about Network or Valhalla? Nah. You know, Garlic, just stick. You know, now. Thank you very much, Hydro. I love you too. If you look, we're in a bear market. You're going to be able to get fantastic, elite projects. At the end of the day, the reason why in a bull market I go for micro caps is because I want to be able to acquire elite projects without paying so much. So instead of, let's say a large cap, if I wanted to put $10,000 into it, you know, I'd have very little gains that I can make from that $10,000, and that $10,000 would travel further in a micro cap. So in a bull market, you put that 10,000 into a micro cap, that micro cap 10 or 100x's, then you take your money out and then you put it into Polygon. And then if you're a whale in a large cap, then you'll make the good money. But because we're now in a bear market, we are seeing these top projects essentially coming down to low cap, micro cap project prices, but with the benefit of it having all the fundamentals of a large cap or mid or high mid cap. So this is really the time to concentrate on, you know, top projects, not shit ones. You're heightening your risk. And I think that the people who do the best in crypto from a mindset and psychological point of view are people who can just invest and forget it. You know, if you invest in a micro cap, you're thinking, oh, I should probably sell it at this point or sell it at that point, because some of them have only got one cycle's worth of gains in it. So you can't put your money in and just go to sleep. Because like me doing that with Globe, you know, I don't even know where that is because I think it's done badly, right? I can't relax. So if that was my only ever investment, I'd be pretty pissed off right now. But you want to be ideally putting your money into a crypto you know is just going to grow multiple cycles, have got a, you know, adoption rate that looks very, very promising for the long term, and you can just invest in it and just leave it. You know, one of the you know, if I go back to one of my last videos I did on my previous channel. Stop seeing this ad. I'm showing you a hack here. This is how you can stop seeing ads. Would you like to learn? Nothing's really changed, has it? So let me just show you some of these prices. Polkadot is now more expensive than it was all the way back here. And, well, it didn't make the greatest of multipliers from there. But I'm just saying, this was before the first top. This was before it all started rising. It was before the first top and then the second top. We are going back to those prices. So that shows you the opportunity that we, you know, and it's going to go lower. So it shows you where we are at right now, and that we've got a tremendous opportunity to invest in large caps, to invest in strong cryptocurrencies we don't have to worry about in the future. You know? Convergence, thank you, Mika, for the $5. I've already answered it. Essentially, convergence at this point is a high risk. And, you know, I'm invested in it, I'm staying in it. The likelihood is that, you know, once we come out of this enormous shithole of a market, the likelihood is that we can start to see, you know, clear skies, and, you know, this may form a narrative. You know, if they are looking for a Moonbeam based DEX that you can, you know, have exposure to pre-IPO assets and various synthetic assets, then this could go on a massive run. But at this point, you know, it's slightly like just no one cares, and I don't really care about it, to be honest. You just have to wait and hope that it either does well or it's just one of those, you know, you learn from it basically. Because Convergence had some good fundamentals, but it was too narrative focused. It was a dab, and it's much more beneficial to be in a layer 1 than a dApp. Layer 1s do well multi-narrative, and dApps do well in one narrative. Right, would you like, man? Thanks, Romain. Right, I'm going to make a move now. Thank you very much, all of you, for popping by, and I hope that as a result of it, bear with me, I hope that as a result of it, you are now in a position to be able to focus the cryptocurrencies that you want to buy. You know, you have a plan. You've got various reasons as to why. I mean, look at Bitcoin right now. Again, it's flirting with that 22k line. You know, there's more turmoil ahead, as you have seen. You know, there's no way that it's up from here when we've got a recession coming up. So hopefully now you've got a plan. You've got a various number of strong fundamental cryptocurrencies that I've just spoken about that you could consider investing in. And ultimately, at the same time, you want to be kind of investing in cryptocurrencies that have got a potential high rate of adoption and have not achieved that yet, but shows good signs of it. You can obviously go for something a bit more established, like Ethereum. You can go for something Ethereum. There's always going to be something better unless it's Bitcoin. And Bitcoin, it's not something I would actively say to invest in. It's something to certainly accumulate at the end of your whole career in cryptocurrency, but ultimately, you know, this is a really good time to get into either established or things that are likely to be established, for showing a very good adoption rate. So that is the kind of thing I think that, you know, you should consider as the stronger part of your portfolio. You can either go for a diversified portfolio where you've got a layer 1 or couple of layer 1s, a few dApps, maybe something in supply chain like VeChain, something in NFT like Immutable X, something in gaming like Decentraland, something in data like Ocean, and have a diversified portfolio, have a Oracle like Chainlink, and really be able to build a powerhouse portfolio in this market. Never before has there been a better. I am personally salivating at how exciting it is this period. This period, I think, is just one of the great periods that you can essentially be getting into cryptocurrencies that have proven adoption, network effect, but at the same time, we're going back to the beginning in terms of its prices. It's a peachy scenario. And obviously, one doesn't maybe have that much fiat to be able to put into it because of coins going down during the last bull to bear transition. But if you can find the ability to be able to invest well in this period coming up, then the next bull market could honestly make kings, millionaires and billionaires. Honestly, it really can. Anyway, love you all. Hope you enjoyed, and I hope you got a lot out of this. And I will see you next time. It is lights out, all out.